GKS is the only way or the best way for you to go to South Korea. You must follow these 3 tips. Oh, welcome back to my video. I am Justin and I share contents about Global Career Scholarship Program, life in South Korea, working in South Korea, all things Korea. And today's video is for those who are considering studying in South Korea under the Global Korea Scholarship Program, or formerly known the Korean Government Scholarship Program. So as you all know, I graduated back in 2024 for my master's degree in business administration under Hanyang University. And during that time, when during the application back in 2020, it was not that competitive compared to recent years. When I say competitive and competition, it's more of a lot of people knows about the scholarship, a lot of people apply, and there are more preferences to specific courses. But if you see that GKS is the only option or is the best option for you to study in South Korea, I will be sharing 3 tips that you should follow and hopefully help you land that scholarship opportunity. The first option and the first tip is actually getting a language proficiency certificate from NIET. So, topic, the test of proficiency in Korean language, is an exam taken by Korean language learners to gauge their level of proficiency in terms of writing. I was supposed to say reading, writing, listening, and now they're adding speaking. It's just like IELTS, but for Korean language. So, taking this exam and acquiring a certificate indicating that you are on a certain level of proficiency is a good addition to your documents when you're applying for the Global Korea Scholarship Program. This is because NIED explicitly stated that they will be providing a bonus points if you have these certificates. That's one. Number two, if I am putting on the perspective of a university or the professor or the teacher, I would highly recommend a student who already has appreciation and understanding of the language and would just need additional training program to improve or expand their vocabulary. That's economical and more convenient. So that's one thing. If you are up until now applying or thinking of applying for the Global Career Scholarship Program without any language certificates, it will be very difficult. It's like an uphill battle that you have to compete with those who have language certificates and those who have excellent grades. So that's the first tip. Just take Korean language lessons as soon as possible and then schedule language proficiency exam and hope to get high topic score. Yes, it's expensive, but if you don't have a lot of resources to get certificates from, that's the most important and probably the best way for you to improve your chances getting the language certificate. Aside from the language certificate, the second tip I'll be sharing with you is actually while you are doing your undergraduates or like you're applying for the graduates program, master's and PhD, while you're doing your graduates or bachelor's degree, explore and connect with Korean professors specifically in your field. This is very important. So, for example, in your bachelor's degree, you don't have a lot of opportunities to go internationally for conferences or presentations. LinkedIn is available. That's the most powerful tool that you can probably use in this past few years because a lot of Korean professors are actually in LinkedIn. And aside from LinkedIn, you can also access their website. Emailing. Emailing is very simple. Compose your sentence, probably insinuate that you will be applying for the scholarship program sometime in the future, but you are very interested to that specific professor's field of interest and you want to align yourself to that. This already shows commitment that you really want the scholarship. So aside from improving your credentials through a language certificate, it's very important to establish network here in South Korea. So Again, if you're unlucky that you don't have resources, financial, or opportunities to join conferences, that's the best way. But if you have the money or you have the resources, I highly suggest joining conferences related to South Korea or organized by Korean universities or organized by the Korean government. That's the best way for you to network to different Korean professors. Because again, especially if you're under the sciences and engineering, even if you have the best grades, but if the professor cannot admit you to their laboratory and you are very much a good candidate, but there's just no room for you, and you won't be able to get the scholarship. I'm helping you realize the value of network and connections, especially with the Global Career Scholarship Program, because nowadays it's not just about credentials, it's about your whole package. How you'll be able to build on these credentials and extend it into more impact, not just to your country, but also to South Korea. That's the second tip. Okay, this last tip is something I really thought of when it comes to preparing your documents. It's specifically the recommendation letter. And I don't want to sound as if I'm limiting the chances of those who won't be following this. But basing on the perspective of NIIET, they really require high quality recommendation letter. So for my last tip, for you to be able to secure your chances of getting the scholarship, is to get a recommendation letter from someone in your university that knows you well but is in very high position. So probably a professor is the last option. But if you can get a recommendation from the dean of your university, for example, you're applying for masters in electrical engineering, build connection with the dean of the school of engineering. Build connection, build rapport, build network. Again, extending the concept of network to the third tip is that these recommendation letters can actually make or break your chances of getting the scholarship. One, because sometimes those who don't follow the rules for the recommendation letter will automatically get rejected if, for example, they don't really have the requirements, the sign on the flap, it should be sealed and such. Not following these instructions, automatic rejection. But at the same time, if the recommendation letter is not from a high ranking position, or if it's not from someone who's in power in terms of, in the university, or who doesn't really know you that much, vague sentences in the recommendation letter would show the reviewers and NIIET that somehow these recommendations you got from these people are actually born out of necessity, probably because you want to apply for the scholarship. It's not that because these people actually recommend you. I hope I'm making sense. What I want to say is that these people should really be advocating for you. They should really be advocating for you to be successful. And how will you be able to do that? You have a strong relationship with these people. That's one. But two, you have showcased your potential to these people. For example, to your dean or to the senior professors from your university, you have showcased your dedication to the craft, to the field, through excellent scores, high quality reports, high quality activities and presentations. These things sum up their expectations that you will be someone who's going to be great in the future. And them advocating for your success through the recommendation letter would translate now to the recommendations and to the NIED reviewers. Because for them, if they see the recommendation letter and they see that only vague sentences are here, like this person is good, this person is recommended, nothing substantial, they will be probably this person just contacted the professor for the sake of the scholarship. That could be the thinking now of the NIED reviewer. But if, for example, in the recommendation letter, they see a storyline, they see fail somehow challenges, then overcoming the challenge. There's a movement in terms of emotion, there's a movement in terms of thought. That's more of like a credible and believable recommendation letter. I'm not from NIAD, and I'm not really from any connected to the scholarship program. I just experienced applying for the scholarship, and I experienced gathering these documents. And how I see it is that if the recommendation letter or the people who writes your recommendation letter don't really advocate or support your application, it is harder for them, for NIED reviewers to see that you are worthy of the scholarship, because the people who recommended you don't really know how to put the words in terms of the sentences that really showcases your capabilities. And I hope I'm making sense out of this, because for me, I mean, that's how I see it. Probably that's the thing that you can try to do. Look for that specific people, those people that could really advocate for you. And people will not just be advocating for another person just because you ask for it. There should be a constant, deliberate buildup of trust and, respect. That's part of it. So as soon as you are aiming for this scholarship program, that's something that you have to keep in mind, because again, manufacturing a recommendation letter just because the scholarship wants it could show that you are not really that much of the fit candidate. And I'm not scaring anyone, but the scholarship is evolving, and there are things that are changing, not just in the scholarship but also in the aspect of Korean society. So you really have to be very conscious with your decisions and think about it. Again, applying for the scholarship is not easy, and it's very expensive. It's becoming expensive because of the things that you have to add to the scholarship program. I mean, to the requirements. But once you're here and you're able to get the scholarship and probably change your life, it's really a life changing opportunity, because studying in Korea brings a lot of opportunities. And in the next few videos, I'll be sharing with you about money matters, like what to do with the allowance and such, and even how to land your job. But for now, bye bye.